All right. The Mishnah on Samach Zayin Amud Beis. So continuing on what's included in houses and those type of things. So the Mishnah says Hamoicher es hamerchatz. So now we're on to bathhouse, right? So Hamoicher, what's included in the bathhouse? So Hamoicher es hamerchatz loy machas and asarim. You're not selling the boards, which means what are the boards? So this was like some places have heated floors, right? So this was the equivalent of heated floors. So they would put these wood boards down on top of the heat, right? So that those boards are not included. Hasfalim and the buckets, right? Meaning the buckets that they use to wash themselves with. Vesabalonios, or a ballon is like a bathhouse attendant. So balonios are the clothing that people wore. It means towels, bathing suits, or those type of things, right? Bisman sha'amar loy, but when he says to me again, so merchatz, loy machers, and the sarmas, the svalmas, those are all not included. But when he says to him, v'chol ma'asher b'seicha, he says it and anything that's in it, harei kulan mechurin, then they're all considered sold. At benkach or benkach, loy machar loy asam beguros shamayim, and even if he says he's including everything in there, he didn't sell him the Megura Shamayim. That's like the bar mikvah, meaning wherever they got the water from, the water source, that was not included because that's not part of a merchatz. And not they had to store wood in order to heat up the water for people to have, so that's also not included in the bathhouse. Right, so meaning when he sells them the bathhouse, including everything in the bathhouse, those are things that are directly part of the bathhouse, not anything that's not, what do we call it yesterday? We called it accessories to the bathhouse. The accessory, right? The accessories or sub accessories. Okay, so the Mishnah, then the Brisa just continues what the Mishnah said. Somebody who sells a merchatz, macher is based on a sarim. He does sell the board, so that's different than the Mishnah. Base how you come in, and that's the bias where the house literally of the things that they wrap around the people's heads. I guess I don't know, when you see people in spas, they wrap their head in a towel. I don't know if that's to retain heat, keep away heat. And the seifel is the buckets where they keep the buckets. Base ha vilois, and that's for towels. So that's all included. But meaning, so the house, and I'm sorry, it's not different than the Mishnah. It's the same as the Mishnah. Meaning, this is the house these are the rooms that they put the boards and the turbines and the basins, meaning the storage rooms and all that. But loyas in the saram atzman, the loy yakman atzman, the loy sfalam atzman, the loy viloyas atzman. All those are not included because that's not the actual bathhouse. Meaning the storage parts is included, but these are not. But when he says I'm selling it and everything that's in it, harei kulan mechurim, they're all sold. Benkach or benkach, loymacher loyasab esa brichas amasafkas lemayim. He didn't sell him the reservoirs, right? The bricha means a pool. That gives him water. Bain antam ralif, bain be maisachama, whether it's in maisachama, ubain be maisach shama. And it doesn't make a difference if it's in the rainy season or in the summer season, right? So why would you think that in the summer season not? Because in the summer season it's much drier, so it's only mu'at. So maybe you would think that it's batul. So the Gemara says no. Base kinus ha'etzim, and not the place where the wood is gathered. V'im amar loy base hamerchatz b'chol tashmishav ani marchalach. If he says I'm selling you the merchatz and everything that's with it, all the accessories, then kulan mechurim, then everything is sold. Because here he added kol tashmisha. When he added in those words, then that means it is including everything. There was a guy that said to us, I'm selling you the Beis Abad, which is an olive press, and all accessories. Right? Havyan Hanu, the Bach changed it, Havyan Hanu, Chadvasa Abroi, and they had stores that were right outside the olive press, to have a Shatchubu Shumshmi, and they would spread out Shumshmi, sesame seeds, before, and they would, I guess, use the olive press in order to squeeze out the sesame oil. So also look, Ameder of Yosef Amrale, he said to Nina, we learned Im Amar, if he said Beis Hamerchatz v'chol tashmisha v'nimaychalach, if he says that I'm selling you the Beis Hamerchatz and all of its accessories, Avikulan Mechurins, everything is Mocher. Right? So Memela, these stores that I guess they sell the olive oil, or the olives should also be included. So Amalei Abayas says, "V'atani Reb Chia ein kulan mechurin." Reb Chia said, everything is not sold, right? Only the things that are mamish connected to the actual olive press. If he says, I'm selling you the Beis Abad and all the tashmisha and all of its matzronah, we had this the boundaries. Kani, then he's kind of everything. And if not, then he is not kind of. Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's all going to be dependent on his terminology. But so the Mishnah, so now we're moving up. So now that was bathhouse and bathhouse, and then we had wine press, olive press, right? Yeah, so now we're on to cities. So Amacher is a ear. If you sell an entire city, so Macher Batim, Bayros, Shichin, Ma'aros, then you're selling the houses and all the different types of pits and ditches or whatever you want to call them. Merchatzois and the bathhouses. Shevachois is our good old dove coats, chicken coops. Beis Habad and Beis Hashlochin. Olive, the olive presses and the Beis Hashlochin we're going to see in the Gemara, but normally Beis Hashlochin gets translated as an irrigation field, meaning a field that's self-irrigating. Avaloy is a metaltalin, but he didn't sell metaltalin. Ubizman sha'omar loy, but if the seller told him, whoever's selling the city, the city and everything that's in it, even if there's behema and avodim there, they're all considered sold. So that's already a big chiddush. I mean, whatever. It's from my understanding, it's a bigger chiddush. He's saying, if he says then even if there's behemas and avodim, that's all considered sold. Right? Now, why you would think that a behemoth and avodim are part of a city? Right?
Yeah, I would. I never bought a city. I never sold a city.
I'm saying a car. Your guy sells a city, and he got the car. Rachman brought it up yesterday. The guy sold the city, and then there's cars inside the city. You would think that the cars are included.
Lavanda.
The cars owned by the city. The tow truck, the snowplow that
it has to. Yeah, I mean, they can't go selling somebody else's things. I mean, you're talking about
the garbage truck.
You're saying if you're saying it like that, then I hear what you're saying. Meaning, if it's
the cars that the meter guys drive.
Yeah, those are.
But see, Yaakov, your Shiloh would be similar to the cases to the prior Mishnah, where if it serves a dual purpose, meaning let's say a guy owns a city, and he uses and part of owning the city, he has a car. It's like he has his own personal car that is part of the city, but it's also his personal car. Would you say that car is included in the sale of the city.
What do you mean? You're saying,
Meaning, if these animals are avadim serve a dual purpose. Let's say he has avadim that work for the city, but they also, they work for his personal house as well. They work in his personal house. So then you would say it's similar to we had a question before, whether the wood house or whatever it is, the woodshed, since it still serves dual purpose, lav dafka it's included. That's what I would say your shadow would be. Is that also included when it comes to behemoth and avadim?
so Akiva's saying good thing, right? Because according to you, Naftali, right, l'chayra, that it should be included even if he doesn't say everything. If the municipal cars and trucks and garbage trucks and all that, that's included as part of running a city, then that should be included regardless of whether he says benkach or benkach, whether he says what's the lashon he v'chol mashe b'soicha.
Don't touch me short.
Right. So I don't know. Yeah. So anyways, they're all sold. Fine. A center. If you sell a city, then you're selling the center. Now you would think it means center like the city center. It doesn't. That's not one of the options in the Gemara, but we'll see. Okay, so Zog the Gemara, so Frek the Gemara, later on in the Masechta we're going to see the Machlokes is what's an Eved? Is an Eved like Karka? We've come across this a couple of times. Is an Eved like Karka or is an Eved metaltalin? Now, on the one hand, the Eved moves. On the other hand, it's considered a kavua type thing. So from this Mishnah, it's mashma that the Mishnah says avodim and behemoth avodim. When he says anything that's in the city is included in behemoth avodim, even behemoth avodim. So then that's metallim. Then this is what we were saying. It's if they're considered like karka, then of course the eved and the behemoth is considered as part of the city. Elamai, eved and behemoth is not considered karka; it's considered metaltalin. When the seller says we're including everything that's in it, so then the metaltalin is part of it. All right. So the Gemara is proving from here that eved is like metaltalin. So when it's velamai, after metaltalin, what are you going to say? That you want to say an eved's like metaltalin? My afilu. So what's afilu? It should be no different than any other metaltalin. What are you saying? Afilu. My afilu is mashma that there's epis a chiddush to avodim. If you're saying that an eved is like your regular metaltalin, so what's a chiddush? Elamai is called. Remember, we're going to say shein bein metaltalin denied me metaltalin deloynai. Shani, I'm sorry. Shani bein metaltalin denied metaltalin deloynai. You're going to differentiate between metaltalin that moves by itself to metaltalin that doesn't move by itself. I mean, you can't compare a metaltalin like a bucket. So a bucket just sits on the floor. It cannot move by itself, right? But an eved can. So we're gonna within metaltalin, we're gonna have to differentiate between self-moving metaltalin and not self-moving metaltalin. So that's what you would say. So then,
what's the full hamdularai whether avodim it's metarkir metaltalin? We're still far in the shots that we've seen in Daf Yomi. We've had about 4 separate drushes that avodim is metarkir. By Shtaris, by Ktubis, by all over the place. And now
The
we have
Rashbam's question. The Rashbam asks on this stuff.
what are you asking?
We have 4 drushes and 3 treatises in the shots that we've seen so far to say that avodim kimikarki. And here we have a whole new handlarai, whether it's like karka or metaltalin.
The Rashbam asked that question.
Uh-huh.
He says it has to do with everyone agrees that it's ishkish to karka, but when it comes to lashon b'nei adam, if they call some an eved metaltalin or not, that's the shayla of the Gemara. It's a b'ay delishta in the Gemara. It's a separate question, nothing to do with mitzad the dinim. The dinim, it's like karka, but lashon b'nei adam, what people refer to avadim as, that's a shayla in the Gemara, whether they refer to them as top metaltalin or karka.
That's the big limit of this whole, the last 5 blocks. It's all about what people, when you sell something, it's how people speak.
Correct.
So, again, it's the last thing. If someone buys a city or sells a city, and there's reason to say that he's not selling the cars or whatever else, because generally the reason someone buys a city is because he thinks it's not well run and he wants to take over the running of it. So he buys a city. So why would he get everything? He wants to renew the whole thing anyway. I mean, I can hear it both ways, is what I'm saying. I'm not
right. And that's what we're trying. We're trying to find that balance here of what's considered movable, what's not movable. Anyway, so the Gemara is saying so an Eved is somewhere in the middle. So Gemara is saying, what would be your Havami? Now again, let me just go back and say that the first wide line. So what are you going to say? That Eved is like metal. So what's a filu? Ella. What are you going to say? Shani be metatal deny metatal deny diet. So we're going to differentiate between metatal that moves on its own and metatal that doesn't move on its own. Afilu tema avdikul kimekarkoidem. Then you can go the other way. You could say an Eved is really like karka. Shani bein mekarka deny the mekarka deny. And within karka, you could say there's two different types of karkas. There's a movable karka, which is an Eved, and there's a non-movable karka, which is your standard ground. Meaning the Gemara is saying, why do you have to say that within metaltalin, there's two different types of metaltalin, one that moves by itself and one that doesn't? Within karka, you could say that there's two types of karka. There's a karka that never moves, and then there's a karka that moves by itself. So therefore, you don't have a proof either way. Fine. Is a center. So if you sell a city, you sell the center. Now, what is a center? My center. Hacha tagimu, here, meaning in Bavel, tagimu bar machvanis, how do I say it? Machvanisa, right? So that means like an Eved. Basically, it means an Eved, the guy who runs the city, right? The guy, he takes care of everything. So he comes along with, like when a president has to change, they change over. What they call it, that is a name for it. No, that they to help it transition. Yeah. Transition guy, right? So you need somebody in the government there to help you out, so that to have the continuation, the transition. So
Rashbam says he measures all the cities. So maybe he's like a surveyor or something. He measures all the fields.
Right, but I mean, he's basically running the city.
Right, government employee.
That it means a shomer here, whatever it is. What do you call them?
Comptroller with a P. Comptroller.
Right.
Comptroller. Why don't we just call him a askin? We're all in agreement that's a good word. He's the askin. You get the built-in askin with it, with all the keys and all the radios and key chains and etc. Yeah. So that, yes. So that's the way. In Bavel, that's what they understood it as. Shimon ben Avtulma says bagi. Bagi means the fields. The parks, or the parks. No, the parks would be next shot. The fields around the city. Mandomer bar machvanesila kol sheken bagi. The one that says that includes the askin. So for sure, the fields are also included. Right? If a guy that walks around, an Eved or whoever it is, this worker, he walks around. He comes as part of the package. So for sure, the fields that are around the city. The one that says that, will say the one that says that it's fields, but maybe not the Eved, it's not going to be included. Fine.
I'm assuming he's saying this is Rabbi Shimon is going on a case where he says doesn't say Kol Masha B'Seicha, right? Meaning he's stomach he sold a year.
This is before the what? Yeah.
I'm saying in this scenario is without saying Kol Masha B'Seicha.
Yes, I think so. Tanan. Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure that a human gets included in Kol Masha B'Seicha unless your mamash looking at him like an Eved, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's the way they explain it. He's an Eved. Why would
they just call him an
sold with the city? Why would
they just call him an Eved then?
He's a special Eved. So the Chiddush is that even if you don't say Kol Masha B'Zaycha, since he's so integral to the city, he's included, even though the rest of the Avadim of the city are not included. That's the Chiddush.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That even if he doesn't say Kol Masha B'Zaycha, since he's so integral to the running of the city, he's included in the sale of the city.
Yeah.
He's one of those people you would say about him, he is the city.
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. So Tanan. So the Mishnah. Now we're going to ask a long. It's a little bit of a technical kasha. Tanan. We learned in the Mishnah. Beis Habadim, Beis Hashlochim. The Tanakama said that the Beis Habadim and the Beis Hashlochim. Beis Habadim is the olive press, and the Beis Hashlochim, that's the irrigated field, are included, right? But it's mashma, not the santer. Savrua, my shlochin, bagi. We thought, okay, shlochin. What's shlochin? Shlochin is another word for bagi, which bagi means the fields. Tichsiv, you send out water to all the outer areas. So bishlam lamanda amar bar machav nisi. I don't know why I can't get this word. Machfanisa, right? So the one that says that it's talking about an evet. So Amar Tanakama Baki Misdavni. So the Tanakama says that the fields get sold. But the human does not get sold. Basra of Shimon Gamliel Lemeimer. Was Rav Shimon Gamliel coming to say with his center? Afilu bar machmanisa nami misdavin. Even a bar machmanisa also gets sold. And the mandamar bagi, but the mandamar that says that a center is a bagi, Tanakama nami hochi komar. So that means that the Tanakama is also including bagi. Man, if you're saying Beis Hashlochim is bagi, so that means that then there's no machlokes in the Tanakama and Rosh Hashanah. So then how could you say that center means bagi? So my answer is misavas my shlochin bagi. Who says that shlochin means bagi? Loi, that it's not. My shlochin ganu nisa. Shlochin means gardens, parks. Shenemar shlochayich pardes rimonim. Shlochayich is pardes rimonim is a orchard of pomegranates. That's from Shir Hashirim, right? So, meaning the Tanakama holds that these shlochin, which are gardens, are included in the city, the sale of the city, and Rav Shimon Gamliel is going to say no, right? Avabagi loy misdaven, but the fields, which are centers, are not sold according to the Tanakama. Also, Rav Shimon Gamliel Meimer afilu bagi nami misdaven. It comes to Shimon Gamliel and says that even the bagi also gets sold. Ikadamri. There are those that say this whole shak mitari the other way around. Meaning this shak mitari started with, we assume that a beis hashlochin, the irrigated field, is another word for bagi. So then we ended up saying no, it's not bagi. Beis hashlochin means a garden. Now we're going to come from the other way. Savrua, my shlochin, magi kadamri. There's another way of learning this. Savrua, we thought that my shlochin ginuniyasa, that's the gardens. So Bishlam the mandamar bagi. So it fits according to the mandamar that says that it's a bagi. So what's the back and forth between the two? Amar Tanakama Kanunisa Mizdaven. The Tanakama. So Tanakama Kanunisa Mizdaven. The Tanakama says that the gardens are sold. Bagi le Mizdaven, and the fields are not sold. Also, Shimon Gamliel says Afilu bagi Mizdaven. Even the bagi gets sold on Toma base. But the one that says that it's talking about an evet, Amar Tanakama Gununisa. The Tanakama said that the gardens get sold. And then Rav Shimon Gamliel says that the center is meaning this evet. Meaning, why isn't he first not asking, why isn't he first not disagreeing about the fields? All right, let him first go disagree about the fields and then we'll talk about the evet. Seems like they're comparing apples and oranges. So it says, Nisavas my shlochin ginunisa. Who said that shlochin means a garden? Loi, my shlochin bagi. Shlochin is bagi. Tirsev v'shaleach mayim apnei chutzos. And you send out water up in chutzos. Ava bar mechavnisa loy misdaven. But an evet doesn't get sold. That's a Tanakama. Also, Shimon Gamliel Lemeimar And comes Rav Shimon Gamliel to say that even this Eved that works for the city, that runs the city, also gets sold. Okay, so that's the back and forth. That's the back and forth whether you can prove something from the Tanakama, the Machlokes in the Tanakama Shimon Gamliel. Fine. Now the Gemara wants to bring a different proof. So Tashema, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Santer Eina Moicha. Rabbi Yehuda says the Santer is not sold with the city, meaning we don't know what Santer is. That's the Machlokes, right? Either it's an Eved or it's the outer field. So Santer Eina Mocher. On Kulmus, Mocher. But on Kulmus, and the word Kulmus means a pen. But on Kulmus is sold, right? My love. What does this mean? But on Kulmus Gavra, isn't it that if an Kulmus is talking about a person, so then the Santer Nami Gavra? Meaning we're having a machlokes what a Santer is. Either it's a person or a field. So if you have this brisa, Rabbi Yehuda says that one human is not considered part of the sale. And then he says another human is considered part of the sale. So that fits together. If you hold that Santer is a human, so that fits with the next part of what Rabbi Yehuda is saying. But if you say Santer is a field, what does Santer have to do with Hankulmus? I mean, basically saying once there's a Tana discussing that the cipher from the city is included in the city, so that must mean that center is a type of evet that's not included in the city in the sale. So the Gemara gives the pasha the teretz midi area hakadisa hakadisa. Who says that both words in the Mishnah? Well, it's not in the Mishnah, but in the Brisa has to be. Why do they have to be aligned? They both have to be humans. Why can't we be saying a list of things included in the city? Included in the sale of the city is a field. Not included in the sale of the city is a cipher. Fine. So I'm going to ask, can you really say this? We learned in the Seifa, so the leftovers, that's literally what it means, which we'll see soon what that means. And not B'noisea means the cities that are next to it. And not the forests that, meaning like basically the parks that are meant for the city, and not the animal reserves, right? Like the zoo for chayas, oifus, dogim. For Amrina, we say my shiara. What's shiara? Bisley. It's Bisley. My Bisley. Amravava piski bagi. Right? It's pieces that are broken off. Right? Piski bagi hu delay mizdavni, habagi atzim mizdavni. Right? But it's piski bagi is not sold, meaning these small little fields don't get sold. Habagi atzim mizdavni. But the bagi themselves are sold. So this is a continuation of Rabbi Yehuda. Right? So you see that Rabbi Yehuda says that fields are sold. So then when he's saying Santa, it can't be that Santa means also a field, because then it's a stira in Rabbi Yehuda. Meaning if you say Santa is a field, well, right here Rabbi Yehuda is saying that the Santa does get sold, and now before he's saying that it doesn't get sold. So then how do you understand that? So Peretz's favorite teretz, Eipach. So we're gonna switch it. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Santa Macher. Rabbi Yehuda says that a Santa is sold. On Kumas, Eina Macher. And then on Kumos is not sold. So we're switching Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. So Gemara says, can we really do that? So basically what you're doing is now you're saying that Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi Shimon and Gamliel. But Rabbi Yehuda Karabanan Svirale, but we have a proof from the end of the Brisa that Rabbi Yehuda holds like the Rabbanan, not like Rabbi Shimon and Gamliel. The Ketani is Seifa, because we learned in the Seifa, but Loi Shirah. Right? But the Seifa says the Shirah we don't sell. But Loi B'noisea, not the outer cities. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and if you say that Rabbi Yehuda goes to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says if you sell the city, you do sell the B'noisea. The Tanya Machras here, like Machras B'noisea. Somebody who sells a city doesn't sell the B'noisea. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, I have Machras here, Machras B'noisea. If you sell the city, then you do sell the outer cities. So you see that clearly Rav Shimon Gamliel is being chaylik on Rabbi Yehuda. So how can you say Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rav Shimon Gamliel? Right? So the Gemara answers, Rabbi Yehuda Savala Kavasei Bechada. Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rav Shimon Gamliel in one, and he's chaylik on him in another one. Meaning, by the outer cities, he holds they're not sold, and Rav Shimon Gamliel holds they are sold. But he does agree with Rav Shimon Gamliel by santer that a santer is considered to be sold. Right? Okay, it's a little technical, this whole thing, but yeah. All right. Fine. So now, okay. So then let's see weiter. So we say not no bivarin of chaya and oifus and dogim. So Ramina will ask you, Stira, how you love bana? Well, banas. I don't know why it has this whole thing with using girls as a banas, psulas, banas. I mean, I guess. Don't we always refer to things as she this, she that, Lady Liberty, she? I mean,
yeah, land also I think is like feminine.
Land is also feminine.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so then that's.
Is the word ear? Is that Lashon Akiva?
I don't know. Ear is male, isn't Iriyah? What's Iriyah in Eretz Yisrael? No.
Land is the kibbles. So isn't that Lashon Ishus?
Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
yeah.
The plural of ear is ayarois. Plural of eretz is artsois.
No, but you say like Artseha. You're talking about like the land of Israel. Say like Yoshveha, Artse, right? Artseha. In the feminine. I feel like land is just feminine usually.
I think we always refer to things as feminine. It's just interesting that Gemara does that, but yeah.
I'm on the way back
But
from
some is masculine.
There's 3 islands there called the Three Sister Isles.
The what?
The islands of 3 sisters. The islands are called the Three Sister Islands.
Okay. I hear. Well, anyways, so it's yeah. So that's fine. Okay, so it's called Bana. Either way, Banos, it's the outer city. So Ramino asks, you see, how you love Banos? If a city had Banos to it, daughters, meaning then Einim Karasima. Then it doesn't. Then it's that those are not sold with it. Hayula chelik echad b'yam, but if it had a chelik in the ocean, meaning sometimes they have this upstate. I think in my father's in County, it's way down the block. It's a half a mile down the block from the water, but it came with the chelik of the lake, right? So hayula chelik echad b'yam, the chelik echad b'yabasha. Or it had a different chelik in the Yabasha, meaning, they had owned a little property, like a little bit off. Right? Bivarim, Shel Chaya, Shel Oifas, Shel Dogim, or sanctuaries of Chaya, Oifas, and Dogim. Harei Elu Nimkarim Ima, they're all considered sold. So you see that the animals are considered, the zoo, let's call it a zoo for argument's sake. The Mishnah says the zoo is not included. Well, actually, not the Mishnah. The Brisa says the zoos are not included, and the Brisa says that it is included in the sale. So our answer is like kasha hada nekiyach kai lagav. That's talking about where the entrance to the zoo. Again, we're just calling it a zoo just for clarity's sake. Is opens to the city, so then it's included in the city. That where the opening is to the outside, then it's not part of the city, and it's considered its own thing. Oh, the Gemara asks, "Vakatani, v'loy es charshin hamuktzin la." It says, but what about the forests? The forests that are muktzah, meaning that are specific for the city. And that means that the forest l'chayra opens up to the city. So why is that not included? So ema hamuktzin heimena means that there are how do you say this? The forest opens from the city, not to the city, meaning it opens further away from the city. I guess these forests had fences around them. Since they had fences around them, so then it didn't open to the city. So that's the way we have to understand the Gemara, right? Okay, so basically, we have different versions of the Gemaras, but basically the zoo is considered part of the city if it opens to the city. If it doesn't open to the city, then it's not part of the city. Yeah. Should we do the Mishnah? No, I guess we'll leave the Mishnah for tomorrow night, Bezos Hashem. All right, tomorrow night it's a touch and go on what time the daf will start. Figure about in the area of 8:30, depending on Peretz's son's chuppah is over. So it's Lakewood time. So what time is it called for, Peretz?
6:30, 7:30.
7:30.